dinner that wasn't an event. This was an event.
Yeah, I went to one of those. We got the corporate partner one year, 2018, I think it was. And yeah, it was very intimate,
Yes.
very
We
dark,
have
very dark
Yes.
We're
too.
live. Board members, we're live. Thank you.
It's a good discussion. Appreciate the energy. Good afternoon. Let me call this meeting to order. Amy is confirmed now. We are on YouTube. Those who have joined, who are not part of the board, we welcome your engagement and following our search process. And today we're going to report major move forward. Ms. Mass, could you do the roll call, please?
Absolutely. Mr. Tom Looney,
Here.
Mr. John Kane, the Honorable Chaz Beasley, Ms. Paula Benson,
Here.
State Treasurer Brad Briner,
Here.
Ms. Lisa Eastep,
Here.
Labor Commissioner Luke Farley, or Mr. Chris Bullard for Labor Commissioner Luke Farley.
Present, but he should be on soon.
Thank you. Ms. Stacy Griffin,
Here.
Lieutenant Governor Rachel Hunt,
Here.
Mr. Jeffrey Lang, Dr. David Lowry, excuse me, Mr. Jeffrey Lang, Dr. David Lowry, Mr. Chris Lumsden.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Bill McBrayer,
Present.
Dr. Dale McGinnis.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Robert Moore,
Here.
Mr. Scott Ottman,
Here.
the Honorable David Price,
Here.
Mr. Bannock Scott, the Honorable Sam Searcy, Mr. Ray Trapp, Ms. Sarah West.
I'm present.
Thank you. Mr. Terry Jurgen. Sir, we have a quorum.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Mast. Ms. Carpenter, please read the ethics statement.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon and welcome to the April 17th, 2026 meeting of the State Board of Community Colleges. It is my duty to remind the members of the board that it is your responsibility to avoid all conflicts of interest and potential conflicts of interest as defined in the North Carolina Ethics Law. As public servants, it is your duty to continually monitor, evaluate, and manage your personal, financial, and professional affairs in such a way as to ensure the absence of conflict or potential conflicts. Does any member know of any conflicts of interest or potential conflicts of interest with respect to any matter coming before the board this afternoon? Noting none, sir.
Thank you. The minutes have been presented. Are there any changes or questions from the March 20th, 2026 minutes?
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. All right, seeing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve. McBrayer.
Second, Moore.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. We'll move on now to approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve, Lowry.
Second, McInnes.
Dr. McGinnis, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. Okay, we have one item for action for the board for the presidential search committee. The committee has developed the presidential profile that will walk the full board through now. We did have a meeting this morning where the search committee, along with the advisory committee, did meet and unanimously approve the profile. I was told to be heard. I just want to make a few comments about the search and where we're headed from here before we actually dive into the document itself. I mean, we just came off the most successful gala we ever had in history. The feedback has been phenomenal. We'll report more back on that at our next meeting. But I just want to thank Amy and the whole staff here for the fabulous job they've done, from the employers to our partners to the board members who participated, a record number of colleges. It was truly an inspiring message. It was an inspiring event, and we'll share a lot of the successes and the outcomes of the gala at our next meeting. But now we're moving directly to the work that matters most, which is beginning the search for our next president and CEO. Today, we will approve the final leadership profile. I will say this has been a disciplined process, months of work, hundreds of conversations with elected officials, business leaders, educators, faculty, staff, and partners across the state. And what's come back was not fragmented. It was actually remarkably consistent. This is not a traditional presidency. We must stay disciplined to this profile. We must continue to hold a high bar as we go through the process, and we must bring forward a leader who can meet this moment. This decision will shape the future of the system, and it'll also impact North Carolina for many years to come. And as a board, we've got to get this right. Before we walk through the document page by page, I want to frame what this profile must accomplish. This is not a job description. This document must do several things and must do them exceptionally well. And hopefully after today, you'll agree that we have done them exceptionally well. One is we have to frame the importance of the role. We needed to validate the role through statewide alignment and support. Establish this as an inflection point for North Carolina, our community colleges. It must reinforce the strength and momentum that our state has grown, both in the community college system, as well as from a workforce development and economic development perspective. We need to present a very compelling value proposition. I believe we've done that, and like any great document, it has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end that closes. I think this document does an incredible job of leading potential candidates through the vast opportunity and support across the state for this role. Must have a compelling value proposition. This role will be a platform to transform lives, strengthen the economy, and really build a national model, which I talked about at the gala earlier this week. And it's really, as you look at the community colleges, we are an anchor in economic impact. The system is central to North Carolina's economic development success, and that must be clear and credible, and I believe that's come forward in the profile that's been developed by the team. It also must convey the scope and scale and role of our 58 colleges, our 600,000 students, and of the overall statewide impact. And that must be validated by leaders across the state who have made comments within the profile, which you'll hear of today. This is enterprise leadership when I see its scale. It also reflects a very strong board. This role is backed by a board that is engaged, aligned, and committed to success. And as I said the other night at the gala, I believe we're the most important board in the state, but more importantly, I believe we're the most skilled board in the state today. With that context now, I'd like to walk through the profile together, page by page, and ensure it meets everyone on this call's standard for what we need to deliver for the state of North Carolina. I will say this morning, we had a robust discussion with the search and advisory committees, and the search committee unanimously approved the profile with a few minor changes that we will share with you today. They will be noted as Nathan takes us through the actual profile. Now Nathan will review the profile page by page. I just ask you hold your questions to the end, and then we'll take them at that point in time. So Nathan, let me turn it over to you. And buddy, I want to thank you for the hours and hours you put into this, as well as the gala and everything else that you've done with your two-person team. My hat's off to you, buddy. Over to you.
Thank you, Chairman Looney, President Cox, members of the board. Thank you, and we're really excited about this profile and the work that has been done on it. We've had a lot of eyes on this as we've reviewed it and fine-tuned it, and I think it's very, very strong. So first off, we're looking here at the title page, the cover page on this, and what you'll see at the top is we have been bold in our framing of this position. This is the most important job in North Carolina, and we're making sure that is clear and that our ambitions are clear in that. But we also wanted to make it easy to understand too that this is the position for this is selecting the next president and CEO of the North Carolina Community College System. And so we've included some information there that quickly grabs the reader, the candidate, and moves them on. I think one of the things that we're really proud about with this profile is how it builds on itself. It really makes the candidate want to move from page to page as they go through. And it really starts not only on the cover, but really ramps up on page 2. When we get into voices across the state, Mary, if you'll slide me down. We knew when we were building this that we wanted to include a number of really powerful quotes throughout this from some of the state's leaders. We really wanted to show the environment and the opportunity that exists. And so we have a great page here of quotes, and we also have quotes that are sprinkled throughout the profile itself. I think the great thing about these is each of these quotes are unique and are tailored for the individual and their lens in North Carolina. And this does a really good job of just showing the kind of support structure that we have in place and the partnerships that we have to be able to make sure this candidate is going to be successful. One other note I'll make on this page too, we had some really, really great quotes that came back, and some of them were even longer than we could fit in here. And so we did put a QR code on this as well to allow candidates, if they wanted to see more information about what has been said and the opportunities, we're going to have a page that's dedicated to that and allows a little bit more long form on the website. So first, we wanted to root this role and the moment in time here around what this looks like for community colleges, what it looks like for this moment in time when it comes to many in the country rethinking higher education and the approach of that, and just how strong community colleges are in their position to take advantage and to be really, really competitive in this space. And so we wanted to include some that really talks about how North Carolina is not just a large comprehensive system, but we really are looked to as a leader and as a model for the United States and our states as they're looking for ways to improve higher education, specifically for community colleges.
Want to look at show the breadth of North Carolina's geography. So in that particular one, we have a college from the coast with a picture of the coast. And then soon you'll see the next chart, which will show the mountains. But we are not only a great state to work in, we're a great state to live in. And we wanted the candidates to see that.
That's right. On the next page, you'll see North Carolina's most important organization. And really, we wanted to drive home all that we are doing and the kind of impact that we have and the kind of opportunity that we have. Again, we're #1 state for business, #1 for workforce from site selection. We have 58 colleges, over 630,000 students. And I think what we wanted to do is we wanted some of this profile is really chock full of very strong data, really strong arguments for why candidates should be interested in this. And so being able to really hammer home some of these facts, like nearly half of all undergraduate education in the state, are provided by North Carolina's community college system is a really strong piece in this. We just wanted to make that easy to understand in glancing, but also if they wanted to go deeper in this, there's plenty of meat for it. The next page really gets into size and scale, shows just how comprehensive North Carolina is with their community college system. Not many community college systems do what we do. They may do pieces of it. They may be focused on curriculum or focused on basic skills. We are, I would argue, the most comprehensive community college system in the nation. And we do not only the things that I've mentioned, but we also do support with businesses, with corporate education. And so we do a lot, and we wanted to make sure that was clear. And as a part of that, we've also done that with our breakdown of age group as well, and wanting to show how many types of students we serve and what that looks like. And then lastly, really, we wanted to drive home that we deliver results in this job, and there's a great opportunity to continue to expand on that. Next page is focused around the strategic investment that's been made in the system and where we are going in terms of those investments. And so we start at the top by focusing in on the foundation and the SOAR campaign that's underway. We show a quick graph on here that really, I think, does a good job of showing where we've been and the kind of just seismic momentum that we have right now. And it also includes some strategic partners at the bottom. And again, these are just a few of our strategic partners, but we wanted to be able to capture that these aren't just a few partnerships. We have many partnerships, and those are growing. We're really engaging a lot of organizations, and Katie Lubis is certainly doing a great job at the foundation. Next page is powering one of the nation's fastest growing economies. We wanted to include in this some of the major announcements that have been made recently, and the home of some of these global industry leaders that we have. We really have a lot of major names. Again, North Carolina is really positioned well for a candidate to come in this role and be able to have a lot of these relationships already built or have opportunities to continue to expand and build those. So we really wanted to capture that. And then we have a really great quote here from Chris Chung from EDPNC, talking about the importance of our community colleges to our role as a state for workforce and economic development, and just how important that is for us to be able to really have that competitive advantage in those conversations. So we started off, I think, with about 3 pages that were dedicated to this, and we had really worked on refining this down to a single page focused around the leader's charge. And we looked at economic development, workforce development, and system leadership in this. And so I won't go through line by line of this, but I do think it starts to frame up the next page, which really gets into attributes and helps lay the foundation for expectations and leadership.
And the one point I'd like to add, one point there, I think it's very important, is in the bottom right-hand corner, we've got a picture of the rendering of the new North Carolina Education Campus. And I think as people look at that and see that rendering, they'll understand the commitment of the state to education and how important it is unifying K-12, our community college system, our UNC system, as well as our economic development partners in Commerce and the EDPNC, all in one location. I think that's a very compelling statement and exciting for our next leader.
Next page is the desired attributes page, and we did make a couple tweaks on this page this morning, and I'll let Chairman Looney in a minute go through those changes. But first, we wanted to really capture in a succinct way some of the attributes and some of the things that we were going to be looking for in that leader. Urgency, building trust, decisiveness. I'm not going to go through line by line on this, but I think this is a really great job, and it goes into the next page as well and lays out a few more in terms of what we're looking for there. Chairman Looney, did you want to mention the changes from this morning?
Yes, based on feedback from the Presidential Search Committee and the Advisory Committee, we voted to amend the profile and change the following on page 9. We adjusted the headline from desired attributes, experiences, and qualification to one word, 2 words, actually, desired attributes, rather than the 3 words we used there. We had discussions with both the public relations firm, with the search firm, and it was that they believed the headline needed to be broad, and we felt that captured it better than the way it was described. The second thing we've done is we added executive branch to the second bullet. So if you look at that list up there, that includes build trust across sectors, we've added the word executive branch to that list as far as the sectors that we work with and support.
Mary, if you'll take us down to the page with the map on it. Yep. This page is really dedicated to the operational numbers and size of the system. And so we've included a top line number of, the total system-wide operating budget. And then a breakdown for the candidate to understand just the sheer scale of our system and the 58 college locations, and then giving a little bit more information too about the system office itself, number of employees that we have in our annual operating budget at the system office. Page 12 is a great letter from the board chair and vice chair, and I'm not going to go through it any more than I have previously, but it's very strong, and I think it's a great addition to this piece. And then lastly, the take action page. This is really the call to action for us. This really drives home. I think at this point, candidates have really been able to, we've made them aware, we've inspired them, and now we're closing. We want them to reach out to Bufkin Baker and Kincarrick, and we want them to engage them with resumes, cover letters, and any questions they have in this. We've also included part of this page is driving home why Raleigh is also a great place to live. And so we have a couple of fast facts about that, and really providing that lifestyle place. Really, Raleigh certainly offers a lot to make an impact and live well while doing it.
And we've got one amendment on that page as well. Oh, right, that's 14.
No, this is right.
Okay, letter. Okay. What we've done on page 14 is we added questions to the search firm's contact information. So it's just not submitting information, it's any questions pertaining to the profile for clarification. They can reach out to the search firm.
Yeah, that's right.
So again, really did a lot of fine tuning, and I appreciate the search committee's work at combing through this.
Mr. Chairman, that's your profile.
Right, before I open it up with any questions, Mr. Kane, my co-chair in the search, was at the meeting this morning. Unfortunately, he's got a grandparents event in Tennessee. Couldn't make it. Fortunately, yeah. So he wanted to celebrate with his grandchildren. So I want to read a statement that he had put together and asked me to read. As co-chair of the Presidential Search Committee with Tom Looney, I want to provide my full support for this presidential profile as recommended by the Presidential Search Committee. Tom Looney and I have conducted numerous one-on-one stakeholder meetings to gather feedback. We've heard strong statewide support for the North Carolina Community College system and recognition of the importance of the presidential role. We have also heard appreciation from stakeholders for the opportunity to provide input in the process. The level of enthusiasm and engagement has been significant, with our discussions often exceeding scheduled timeframes and demonstrating the importance of the system to North Carolina's workforce and economic leadership. I am confident that with this presidential profile, our State Board of Community Colleges will be well positioned to recruit the very best community college system leader in the country. So I just wanted to make sure, I wanted you to hear what John's thoughts. And with that now, we will open it up to any questions on the profile as it was presented.
I have one question, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. McBrayer.
It's the first time I've seen this, and it looks really great. Hats off to everybody that touched it. The question I had, because I hadn't really looked to dissect who all the quotes were from, but were there any quotes from the executive branch, such as Governor, Senate, House? I saw a lot of business. I saw DPI. Just curious if we have any of that in there, or just leaving it out on purpose.
I would say that was intentional. We actually had that question from Seth Dearman this morning, but we didn't include the governor or the leaders of the House and the Senate in this. We took other leaders. And Nathan, I don't know if you want to add to that, but that's the reason you don't see the executive branch in there.
Fair enough. Just didn't know if it was in there or not.
That's a great question. We were very thoughtful in every element of this to make sure we hit the mark. And again, I think one of the more powerful things in this are the quotes from key state leaders. And most of the folks who are quoted, they're nationally known folks. So that seal of approval is great. And Nathan came up with the great ideas. A lot of these folks wanted to say a lot more, but you want to keep people's attention. So what we tried to do is keep it to a sentence or maybe two. And if they had larger comments, they can just go into the QR code and read more of what these individuals said about the importance of this role to their success.
Thank you.
Sarah West, Ms. West is recognized. She's muted.
Thank you. This is beautifully done. I think this is a really, really compelling job description and invitation to an incredible opportunity. I very much appreciate the focus on workforce. 5 years ago when I joined the board, I did not feel that we had fully claimed our niche as the leading provider of economic development in the state. That being said, I would like to see a slightly greater emphasis in a couple of places on our educational mission. And right now, I don't think we have true clarity on the multiple portals of entry. There's a couple of references on the page, North Carolina's most important organization, and we reference working adults and recent high school graduates, but as we know, half of our enrollment is coming from high school students. I may have missed it. I've read it 2 or 3 times. I just want to make sure that to me, the power of the community college system is that people can come in and out throughout their life. So thank you for the opportunity to comment. And second comment, continuing education only. We had a conversation via email a few months ago about whether we wanted to rebrand continuing education to make it more clear that it's workforce training, or I'm just flagging that. I don't know if we can do that at this point, but just wanted to raise that point.
Let me add to your comment. That comment also came up this morning. And I think unless Dr. Gold or someone else has a better answer than what I heard this morning is, I guess different states use Con Ed differently. They define it differently. And we probably have to go through a rebranding. The intent of this is to gain people's interest to pick up the phone or send a note to the search firm to show their interest. And again, we're going to recruit. So there's a lot of stuff we wanted to include that we couldn't, but the intent was to gain interest from candidates to pick up that phone. And again, you're right, we do have to start rebranding it because it's not clear what Con Ed is. I think we may be one of the few states that still uses that. But that's something we couldn't tackle to get this profile out on time. I think overall, from the discussion today, folks were very comfortable with, we had a significant amount of positive, solid information to attract candidates. And those elements will clearly come out during the interview process and in the overall discussions with the candidates as we move forward. So you're both very good comments.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
So,
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Chairman Price.
David Price. Hi. Thank you. I also want to commend you on this this is a very professional, polished document already. And so thanks for everybody who contributed to it. I have one comment along the lines of Ms. West's comment and then one of my own. I do think we need to make sure that we're giving full recognition to the total scope of our educational mission, and that means that we give a little more recognition, I think, to the education relationships that this new president is going to have to be to shepherd, as well as other relationships. I have one specific change that would make that a little clear. Under the desired attributes section, I think it's the number 5th or 6th, navigate complex environments. I would say advancing shared workforce, economic, and education goals. That's an example of how you could give a little more emphasis, I think, to the educational role that we have. As you know, I've been concerned.
Congressman Price, excuse
Yes.
me. Could you reference the page number you're referring to right now?
Boy, it's hard with just an iPhone here.
I've got it. It's on
Yep,
page.
Page 10.
Page 10, and then if you wouldn't mind just restating your comment, I think that would help us tremendously.
All right. Let me
Thank you.
get my trusty device here. What I'm talking about is it's navigate complex environments. That heading.
Okay, we're following you now. Thank you so much.
Okay, and then there's a phrase there, advancing shared workforce, economic, and education goals. Would be the new language.
So would you like to make a motion that we amend?
Yes, if that's what you'd like, I can make a motion. I thought we were. Well, maybe you should clarify a little bit, Mr. Chairman, about the nature of this session. Are we actually in the process of writing the final document, or is this a feedback session with the final document yet to come, or is this it? I mean, if we have a change, we should do it in a formal way. Is that right?
Yeah, this is a final document with any final amendments.
All right. Well, if that's the case, I will make a motion then and request that single word be added.
All right. Okay. Board members, you heard the motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Would you reread that motion just so we'll got some clarity, Mr. Chair? I'm sorry.
Nathan, you have it? Yeah, read the new language.
Our new language is work effectively across government, education, and industry while advancing shared workforce, economic, and education goals.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know that we had a second on that motion.
Oh. We didn't.
I'll second. This is Lieutenant Governor Hunt.
Right. Need to vote again then? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries now.
All right. And my second point, while I have the floor, let me just finish. This is a concern somewhat about the overall impression we're giving. But my specific reference is to the page. Tell me what page it is, Amy, where we say, "Dear Leader." Dear Leader. What page is that?
The end, right?
It's at the end. Yeah.
Page 12.
12.
Page
All right.
12. Page
All
12, the
right.
very end of our document. Thank you.
Okay, good. Okay, and what I was concerned about here, and this is partly the overall document's impression, but it's certainly made quite specific in this language. I'm talking about paragraph 5 of Dear Leader. We're seeking a proven executive, regardless of industry, who has led at scale, and so on. This implies, I think, that we're looking for, and only looking for, a corporate leader. We may, of course, have corporate leaders that we want to consider, and that their experience will be highly, highly relevant. But I believe, if taking this quite literally, that I'm not sure that many of our most successful presidents in the past, and that would include Bob Scott and Martin Lancaster and Scott Rawls and Peter Hans, I don't know they would have made the cut, because they didn't come to us as corporate executives. And I think what we're looking for is proven leaders who have led large organizations, including corporations, but also potentially other kinds of large organizations. That's the skill set we're talking about here. And as a matter of fact, we're looking for a broad set of corporate abilities. We don't want a leader from any sector who's narrow or not able to navigate these. This is a demanding job that involves reaching out. Whoever it's going to be is going to have to broaden their reach, probably. And so I guess the simplest way, just on this specific item, would be to drop the phrase regardless of industry. You could say proven executives of large organizations or something of that sort. But I believe that would be helpful to make it clear that we're looking for executive experience without necessarily limiting it to corporate experience.
I think leader is, I think it's a fine change. I like any other comments on that, but I would be.
Mr. Chairman,
that.
I'm very content with the way it's currently worded. I'm not reading it the same way as Congressman Price. I think it's very broad. I think your phrase, regardless of industry, makes it clear that whether it's private industry or healthcare or education or government, I see that regardless of industry being all inclusive. So I'm interpreting it very differently. I had no problem with it.
The trouble is you have to interpret it though, Dale. Government is not an industry in our common understanding.
Everything in here is subject to interpretation.
Well, okay. All right. This is just trying to be a helpful suggestion. I just think we don't want to send up signals that would eliminate people who might have relevant experience. So I mean this as a constructive suggestion.
Yeah, I think it's let me just make a comment first and then we'll go to Mr. Ottman. I think it's a fair point because one of the intents of this is, and the way it was structured from the advice we got from the experts in this field, was you want to have a very broad net. So that was the intent in writing this. So now I've got Mr. Ottman. Now you have a comment?
Yeah, so I guess I'll dovetail on what Dale said, right? I think if you take it out, we might find that the only ones that apply are those that are from the higher education or, that industry or segment. So I like it the way it is personally. My feedback, Tom, is on page 8. I think the picture of the building is very compelling. I think the story behind what the state's doing and who they're putting in that building is even more compelling. I don't think it needs to be in this document, but I think it needs to be either in Q&As or somewhere, because I think it's very strategic, and not only the building, but who's going to be in there.
Let's go back to Congressman Price first and close out that one. Do you want to make a motion to change the language to leader from executive?
Yes, if that's what we need to do, that then I'll be happy to do that. And my preferred language would be referring to an executive who's led a proven executive who's led a large organization. But I think if you like the language at scale, it says the same thing, so that's fine. So the minimum change would be just to drop the phrase regardless of industry. Make that more open-ended is the intent. And I do think, apropos of Dale's point, or I'm sorry, Scott's point, I think the overall document makes it quite clear that we're open to corporate leadership here. I don't think there could be any doubt of that. What I don't want to do is have specific wording that seems to head off other kinds of leadership. I just don't know why we'd want to do that to ourselves, especially when you think about the kind of fields we've recruited very successful leaders from in the past.
Correct. So the request you have is to seek a proven executive and eliminate regardless of industry.
That's right.
All right.
Mr. Chair.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Chairman. Ken. All right, Ken, go ahead. Ken Carrick.
Yes, I just want to, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Ken Carrick. I'm a partner with Bufkin Baker. One of the things that I think this is a suggestion that would probably get at both the comments from Congressman Price and from Dr. McGinnis is you could say regardless of sector, because sector would imply industry, education, government, et cetera. If you want to leave that phrase in and not eliminate it, that one word change might be a little broader. Just a thought.
That would be agreeable with me.
Commissioner Farley, you have a comment on this particular topic?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I liked it as written. The way I read it was that sort of the default assumption is that a search like this would be looking for somebody already in academia. And this makes clear that we are open to people across the board. And so I liked it, but I could live with sector 2.
Any other comments? Okay, do I have a second?
Well, let me amend the motion, Mr. Chairman, in the spirit of compromise. Let me just amend my amendment to substitute the word sector for to leave the words in regardless of and put in the word sector. That's fine. I make that I'll amend my amendment to that form.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
Second from Ms. West. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. Now back to Mr. Ottman. All right, Scott, so I think I understand your point is you think that is on page 8 with the building?
Yes.
I guess there's 2 ways you can look at it, Mr. Ottman. One is it would, and I'll let Ken answer it too. You'd like more detail on this page about that facility, or
Well, it can either, I don't want to upset the apple cart. This is, don't take it wrong. This document's great, right? So all I'm suggesting is either in the Q&As or the folks that are going to be doing the screening, that they understand the strategic nature of that building, not only the financial investment, but the organizations that will be housed, how important that is.
we'll be sure that Ken understands that. I mean, I'll tell you how important that having that in there. I personally got that pictured and went to the designers, because I think this is, I don't know how many hundreds of millions we're spending on this, but this tells a great statement about this state's commitment to workforce and education. And I think we're
Absolutely.
going to see significant benefits. So I appreciate you picking it up. So Ken, you heard it loud and clear. Let's make sure Ken knows when he's talking to these folks, he knows the story behind this facility.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Lumsden.
Yes. Unfortunately, Ken could not join us this morning for our search committee meeting. Just a question to Ken. Ken, what is your overall impression of the profile and the changes, amendments that we've made to this document?
That question is for me. I'm the only Ken in the room, right?
Yes, I'm sorry, Ken Carrick.
Yes. Okay. I actually think it's really good. That I want to go back and emphasize a point that Tom said. We purposely want to keep this broad because we want people to engage with us. Unless they engage with us, we don't have a chance to expand on the opportunity and expand on the importance of, say, the investment of bringing all the educational entities together. So I think what I see here, even and with the amendments, gives a document that people can read, and it will pique their interest to want to know more, and they'll engage with us. And that's the intent of this. Then we'll go to the next level of conversation, and ultimately those that get to the search committee and the board will go even deeper. But I like it, and I like the fact that it's broad, given that we're going to try to cast a broad net and not exclude anybody.
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Good, very good discussion.
Mr. Chairman, it's Luke Farley. I've got one more.
Yes, sir.
Well, first I want to say, I think this is a fantastic document, and I think it communicates things about the system that we want communicated and is directed at the kind of people we want to be our next president. I mean, if I picked that up, I'd say this is a job I want. I love my job. I'm not looking for a new one, but this would make me want this job. The one thing I would add, and I'm not sure it's something, I agree, I think this thing is better kept as brief as possible. But the thought I've had since we've started this search or started the process of preparing for the search is how do we ensure that the person who gets this job loves North Carolina? Because to me, this is a public service job and it's paid better than most state government employee jobs, but in the end, it's public service. And how do we ensure that somebody has, if not a deep knowledge of this state, but a deep commitment to it? Because we don't want anybody for whom it is just a job. And so I don't know if that's captured in here, that maybe that's not a factor that we think is overly important, but I think about it in terms of when the going gets tough, what's going to make somebody dig deep to give us their best? And in the end, I think it's because you love this state and want what's best for it. And I don't know if that can be captured in here, if that's something, as Mr. Ottman said, can be better handled through Q&A. But I think there's an intangible there that we want to see in our next president.
Yeah, and I think the word too, Luke, is passion. You want something that's got a passion for it, not necessarily a passion for the state, but a passion to change people's lives, which is what we do. And I think that came out at the gala. So Ken, I don't know, can you comment on that element of it? Because I agree, just can't be a job. I'm not in this role because I do it because I've got a passion for it, and I think all the board members do. So that's a great point. Ken, how can we handle that in the interview process and really pull that out, that they do have a passion for this work or this state? Any thoughts?
I'll give you some thoughts. These aren't necessarily in any particular order. But when someone engages with us and they express even moderate interest, the very first question we ask is why. And through our interaction with them, we ask why a number of times. And we're not just looking for the flip answer, the first answer. We want to try to go deeper. And it may be a passion around the work. It may be a passion around the work and the location. It could be any number of different things, but we really try to get at the why. And then, of course, the search committee, we recommend when they do interviews, they go back to the why, because we want people to continually be able to articulate what's driving them. And we're trying to make sure it's being done for a good reason. We do pretty extensive interviews on the front end, and quite often we get a pretty good feel for how passionate somebody is about their job. Is it a job and a passion, or excuse me, is it a career and a passion, or is it just a job where they're collecting a paycheck? A lot of those judgments are subjective, but it has been my experience over 40 years that the more you ask them and you continually ask them as they meet differing groups going through the interview process, and then ultimately you're checking references to try to get additional information, you normally can get a pretty good picture. What's a little tougher, particularly if you want to cast the national net, is how do they currently feel about North Carolina? You know, maybe they were from here and they've moved somewhere else and they love it so much they want to come back and apply their passion for their work in their home state. Maybe they have relatives here. Maybe it's because they've done research and they know that we're one of the best states to live and work and they want to come here. But it's, you know, for somebody, if they come from outside of North Carolina, there's a lot of subjectivity. But again, the more people that meet and talk to a person, the greater sense that you can get is this legit, or are they really good actors? I wish I could tell you there's a foolproof way. Now, maybe if we find somebody who's like me, born and raised here and, you know, not moving anywhere, then that's a little different story. But to cast a wide net, we're going to get some people that probably don't live here and may not have lived here. And there's a lot of subjectivity to that judgment, but it's ask questions, listen, ask the next question, listen, and don't just take the first thing you hear and do that multiple times. It's not a black and white answer, but it's the best answer I can give you.
Well, I appreciate that. And I agree. It's probably not something that could be captured with a black and white answer. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman,
Sure.
let me just chime in here. I've done a fair amount of certainly academic recruitment, and also been a part of industrial recruitment teams. And I I think sometimes we're going to find people who certainly don't know much about the state and might even need a little missionary work done on them. That's our job. That's going to be our job. I don't think we can necessarily ask for a ready-made or preset set of attitudes about the state. We want, of course, people who are open and receptive and interested. But I've often had the experience of somebody becoming really sold on the state once they're in part of this process, this sort of process. You know, we're going to impress them, and we should just assume that it's our job to impress them. And I think we got to take that on as opposed maybe to looking for a set of attitudes.
Well, there's probably a lot of people on this board we talked to that aren't from or lived in North Carolina.
That's right. That's right.
I appreciate your comments. Very good. Well, we just got to, again, this is the start of the process. So we'll be flushing a lot of this out as we go through. This is our face to candidates. And I think between Ken and I believe between the public relations firm, which we've never done before, we're getting good feedback from them. We'll be a joint meeting next week, get everybody together and make sure it's all about execution now. So I appreciate all the comments so far. They've really provided significant value. Anything else that anyone would like to bring up? I think we've got a question. Dr.
Mr.
McGinnis.
Chairman, I'm very happy with the product and appreciate all the work. And if you're willing to entertain a motion for approval, I'm willing to make it.
Okay, I'm going to need the motion from the committee, but I appreciate your willingness to do that. So, Board Member Lumsden.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, the Presidential Search Committee recommends, and I so move, the presidential profile as amended.
And approved by the board. Okay. You've heard the motion. I need a second. I don't need a second. All those in favor,
Second.
please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries. And I want to thank everyone on the search committee to this point. The heavy lifting will continue. I want to thank the board for your thoughtful comments today. As I said, I'm proud of this board. I'm proud of this document, and I know we'll be proud of who we hire. Anything else I've missed? All right, let's talk about timeline. The timeline hasn't changed. Right now, if you look at it's the same chart I showed at the board meeting last month. It's a July to October onboarding. Right now, we're sitting in the middle of April. We pulled the trigger on Monday morning on the profile. Ken begins his work. We are expecting interviews in mid to later May with 3 finalists identified by June. We are also working on contingency plans in the event the candidates of the quality we want are not in the first round of candidates we receive. So I just want to let you know that this is the schedule. I've shared the schedule with you basically from the start, but speed can kill, and I want to make sure that we get this right. So while this will depend upon the legislature approving the final person, we are looking at avenues to make sure that if we need additional time, we'll have that time to make sure we make the right decision for the state of North Carolina. So all that is being worked concurrently as we go through this process. All right, any questions? Any new business that anyone would like to mention? A couple of things. Just a few thanks. I mean, the award gala, the notes are still coming in. Dan Haggerty, who was the MC, has already reached out and said, hey, I'd love to come back. I want to do more with you. I think the businesses that were represented on stage did an incredible job promoting our college. I knew a number of folks at the event that are, I think they do full-time event participation for different organizations in the state. And some of the guys that are the tougher critics and gals said this was the best event they'd ever attended. So my hat's off to the whole staff here at the community college system. I want to thank the presidents. We had 31 presidents participate. The displays were off the charts. I must say the fake eagle and the owl and the falcon and were the hits of the show. Hopefully you enjoyed the oysters. They were grown in Carteret County, and they've got the best aquaculture program in the country. And the stories keep coming in, and we'll share more of those stories with you. And I want to congratulate again board member Lisa Eastep. That was probably the highlight of the night, and the impact it had on our attendees. I know we invited our good partner Pendo, who hosted us last year. They attended and were overwhelmed with it. So I think probably we'll be on the phone with Pendo this week to lock them in for this year as well with our summit, which will most likely be in October. Yeah, the award that we created this year was for the program Access to Achievement. It is the IDD program now that I believe is on 15 campuses. And I remember Lisa said there were 800 students that participated. And again, it's a way to demonstrate what board leadership, General Assembly leadership, and system leadership can do working together. I actually would have liked to have done this a year or two ago, and Lisa said, no, hold on, we got to make sure we're rocking and rolling, and they're rocking and rolling. And I actually sat next to Senator Lee, and I think he was overwhelmed with the recognition as well, and is so proud of the work this system is doing with that program. And Nancy basically retired. I had a discussion with Nancy, and Nancy came back to do this. And I think we gave Nancy another 10 years on her life because she's so excited and has so much energy about this program. I'm very excited about it. So I appreciate everybody attending. And just so you know, we'll probably be there next year since it was so successful. I want to really give my hat to Namie. I think the hardest job was table assignments. She's got a huge poster in her room with probably 300 sticky notes. And the only table she screwed up was mine. No, I'm just kidding. You didn't. No, everything was perfect. And now what I'd like to do is one of our marquee events here in the last few minutes is Community College Day. And for those board members that didn't participate in Community College Day, 2 years ago, it was in a conference room over in was it the Museum of History, Alex? Or he always hates when I bring this up. But it was just a meeting. We got together with the colleges. We had a quick meeting and then walked the halls. Last year with Alex's leadership, we had a 20 by 40 tent, and I think we're going to hear where we're going this year. I think we're doubling, right? That's what I heard. We're doubling. So let's turn it over to Deanna.
Yes, we do have a larger tent for this year. Community College Day, it will take place May 6th on the Halifax Mall. The start time will be 10 a.m. and run until 3 p.m. We have 40 community colleges participating this year. We have around 10 that will be attending, but not able to host an exhibit. We understand it's a busy time with graduations, and we're grateful to all of the colleges traveling to Raleigh and participating and showcasing an exhibit. All the exhibits will be aligned with Propel NC, unique, cutting edge, interactive exhibits. And they will all showcase what our 58 community colleges are doing to the legislator, any other state agencies that are walking through the Halifax Mall, really showcasing the work that's been going on at the 58 colleges. We plan to send calendar invites out soon, probably next week. And with the help of Nathan and Marcy, we created a graphic that we will be emailing with the calendar invite, as well as passing these out to all General Assembly offices next week. We think this year will be bigger and better. We have more participation, so it'll definitely be bigger and better than last year. And I think that covers it.
And Alex requested pizza, so I think we'll be serving pizza again. All right.
Yes, we will be
Which was a
serving
big
pizza
hit.
for
We
lunch.
clear the buildings out with pizza.
Yes.
Any questions on Community College Day? But please try to make it. It is a fun event. And how many colleges did you say we have this year? 40?
We have 40 participate in showcase and exhibit.
40 colleges showcasing exhibits. I mean, this is like Christmas for our colleges and for our system. All right. Just a couple of final notes, and then I'll open it up to any questions before we close. I also want to shout out to President Lee. She's been on the Search Advisory Committee, and she's shown up in person every meeting. I want to thank you for your active engagement through that whole process, and also Jean Rees, who also has been a huge help as we went through this process. I will be at their meeting this week, giving their executive committee and all the trustees across the state an update on our board and also on the presidential search. So I always look forward to talking to my fellow friends, as being a former trustee myself. So with that, any other board questions or comments on anything we discussed today? With none, the next board meeting is scheduled for May 14th and 15th. So we will see you then. And with that,